Found it. All right. So when the kids leave the house, that's what we're talking about today. Um, Actually, that's not what we're talking about today, but it was on my mind at the time, so I chose that as the talk title. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we've got these events at 7 o'clock. Set an alarm on your phone or on your iPad, and each day then you'll be reminded, and you can decide whether or not you're up for joining us. But your presence is always welcome at these. Um, Contribution statements are coming. When we downsized in September, I transferred from our desktop to a laptop all of the functions, and in so doing, I came up with some kind of an issue that I'm still trying to work out. But we should have those out by Tuesday. If you need a statement before then, let me know because the statements are produced. I just can't get the email function to work. So I can copy those statements individually and email them to you individually. So if you need those before 2nd of September, Tuesday, let me know. And that has nothing to do with Groundhog Day. Okay. So the monthly financial reports are now available through the newsletter. In our annual meeting last week, it was requested that we make those available. So in each week's newsletter will be the current reviewed and approved by the board financial statements. So both the annual and the the annual P&L and the December balance sheet are now available through the newsletter. Um, we have a minister search team forming. As you know, the extension of my contract is up on the 31st of August, and it's time for us to start looking for my replacement. So if you are interested in being part of that process, please either let me know or let one of the board members know, Sue or I can't say Pam because Pam is no longer on the board, but Sue or Ginger or Mark or me, get in touch with us. Zoom greeters. Yes, we have changed the name of Unity Buddies. So the function of the Zoom greeters hasn't changed. All it is well, slightly more, but it's basically hi, welcome to our gathering this morning, and if you have any questions, let me know. So that occurs in the chat box, and so we'll be reminding people to go to the chat box to ensure that they have seen all of the messages that are presented to them either as a group or individually. So we also have the annual gratitude journal. That gratitude journal can either be just the January 1 through December 31 on 55 loose leaf pages, sheets, double-sided, or you can actually create a start date and create it in Excel. Okay, so if you'd like a call from me, leave your phone number in the chat box or email me at livingwaterunity@comcast.net. With that, then, any questions about the announcements? There was a bunch of them this morning.
David, just a reminder that when people leave their phone number, if they direct it to you individually, nobody else will see it.
Oh, thank you. And the way you direct it to an individual, whether it be to me or any other person, when you open up the chat box, at the bottom of the chat box, it will say to everyone or to David or whomever you want to direct it to. And that will not show up for anyone else. So you are all you have to do is just to direct it to an individual. Thanks, Pam, for that reminder. Any other questions or comments about the announcements?
This is Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
A couple of other announcements, I think, are Lee had her 90th birthday on Friday.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
And you have a birthday
Uh,
Today.
yeah. It, thank God I have a birthday. I hate it when I don't have a birthday. That's
It's
yes.
today, isn't
It
it?
is. It is today. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
We
So
moved from the year 3 to the year 4. Plus
so
70.
maybe we can sing happy birthday. There you go. Happy birthday.
You all
Very
or
nice, Doug.
you thank you, Doug. You all organized a drive-by birthday party at Lee's place, and that was wonderful. Unfortunately, I was in the process of helping Shannon and Jake move to Berthoud, but uh, thank you for organizing that. That was fun.
Yeah, the writers scripted that for Lee.
Okay, so no other questions on the announcements. Thanks, Chris, for reminding about Lee's birthday. And Doug, if you would please, love is flowing. And thank you. Let's see. Oh, let me. We're still sharing the screen here, aren't we? So, our affirmation for Living Water Unity. Together, please. Mic's open. We'll have a cacophony, but we'll hear each other. Okay. Together. Living Water Unity is a
Living Water Unity,
thriving
a
spiritual
thriving spiritual
community
community,
inspired to
inspired to
embrace and
embrace
share
and
our
share our
abundant
abundant
good
good
now.
now.
I'm
I am
empowered for
empowered
joyful
for
living
joyful
by
living by
expressing
expressing
God
God
in
in
each
each
moment.
moment.
Thank you. And our daily word. Who would like to read our daily word this morning? I know you can do it. Okay.
Today's daily word is now. I find my power in this very moment. There is power in this very moment. Yesterday is past and tomorrow is yet here. There is only this moment, ripe with promise and potential, ready for me to live it fully. Through my many divine gifts, everything I need to get started is within me. I need not wait for the perfect moment to arrive because there is no time more perfect than now and no place more perfect than here. Procrastination has no place in my life. I fritter away my energy when I find reasons not to get started, losing my zeal and focus and inviting frustration into my life. Today I claim the power of the present and say, this is the day I begin. Now is the time to begin, to serve, to forgive, to create, and to love. See, now is the acceptable time. See, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2.
Thank you, Sue. And our affirming prayer. Remember that additional prayer support is available on our website, livingwaterunity.org/prayer, and through Silent Unity by phoning them at 816-969-2000 or by email. But in the awareness of this present moment as being the divine instant it is, we'll share this affirming prayer, and then I will ask for any additional prayers that you would like to offer. For each prayer, we will hold that prayer in the consciousness of unconditional love and allow that prayer to go forth in that harmony of this divine vibration of God. So, in this moment, in this now, We know that God is a love that has no end and a power that knows no bounds. God's healing power of divine life is restoring, healing, and revitalizing our world in this very moment. We let go of any fears or anxieties, and we affirm that all are safe, healthy, and protected. We bless all those who support us in maintaining vibrant, radiant health. We express divine life in all we think, say, and do. We bless our global family with radiant health, peace of mind, and abundant love. And so I ask you now to share your prayer, whatever that is, and we will together hold that in unconditional love.
I'd like to ask for a prayer for Rose Polika. She has applied for a different position with Kaiser, which will be in a regular Kaiser facility in an office, setting people up for MRIs and CAT scans and all that kind of thing. And she will still be working directly with people, but she won't be out there on the front lines in the emergency room, and she will have a much shorter drive. But it's up to human resources to make this change for her, and she's concerned about how long they might take. So the prayer is for them to do this quickly for her.
And so it is.
Yes, I'll put my name in for, this is Pam, for healing of my teeth quickly. Please help see me in strength and vitality.
And so it is. I'd like to offer a prayer for my daughter Shannon, who, in the move on Friday, um, injured herself, pulled muscles, sore muscles, sore hands, cut hands. Um, she got beaten up, and so so I'm holding this prayer of peace and healing for her. And so it is. This is a prayer for Dee, who had an unfortunate fall this last week. Seeing her revitalized and healed. And so it is.
I would like to offer a prayer of gratitude for this church and all the people in it and all that they do for everybody every day.
And so it is. And for several people in our community, their names I will hold, but knowing that there are several that are going through some tough times right now. And so you know who you are, and we as a community know that the presence of God is here and now. And in that awareness of the healing light, embracing each and every one of us, including you. And so it is. Are there
I'd
any
like
other?
to
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask for peace and healing for our country.
And so it is. Are there any other prayer requests? For all of those prayers unspoken, for all of those in need of prayer and unaware, for all of those living in the absence of the awareness of the love of God. We extend this unconditional love without limit, without limitation, without allocation. We allow that unconditional love to flow through us into this moment, beyond the walls of this community, beyond the walls of our imagination. We allow this love to flow to the world. And for this opportunity to be messengers of the One, we give thanks. And so it is that together we say, Amen.
Amen.
So, Doug, you have some wonderful music for us this morning, I am certain. I would remind you to change your view to speaker view so that you can see Doug's performance live and in person.
Speaking of Groundhog Day, has anyone ever read the book?
Which book are we speaking of?
Groundhog Day.
Oh, I didn't know there was a book, Groundhog Day. Okay.
I sat next to this guy on a plane trip years ago, and somehow the subject came up, and said we were talking about it's one of my favorite movies, and he says, "Do you know how many years his one day went in the book?" Anybody have any ideas?
No.
He was going through the same day for 30,000 years in the book. And by the end of it, he didn't just win the girl, he was almost omnipotent, apparently.
Wow.
So a
So
little bit of groundhog trivia.
so now I'm going to have to read that book. But you're saying that if we live long enough, we will approach omnipotence. Is that what you're saying?
I guess that's what he was saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, he went through 30,000 years of it. So I guess he learned to play the piano and everything. Right?
Well, it didn't take you that long, did it?
I'm still learning.
Okay. All right.
But just on the title of your talk today, I decided to play Burt Bacharach's "A House Is Not a Home."
Okay. Oh, keep playing, please keep playing. That was beautiful, Doug.
That was
So tremendous,
gorgeous.
Doug. Wonderful.
What a blessing you are to this community. Wow. Thank you. 20 years.
It's the only time I get to play for anybody these days.
Well, you let it all out. So thank you for doing that. You know, 20 years. What was it? August of 2000 that you joined us, right? Whew. Thank you. All right. So, when the kids leave the house. Now, that title came, it's been on my mind, right? I mean, yeah, yeah, it's been on my mind. But that title is really a metaphor. It's a metaphor for when we have finished, or it has been finished for us, what we perceive to be our primary mission in life. And you know, the primary mission may be an overstatement, but at least one of the missions of life. And when we fulfill that mission, or we finish that mission, or that mission is finished for us, whether it be in a relationship change or it be in retirement. I know there are a number of people that are here in this community that have either recently retired or soon to be retired. And of course, there are lots of people in this community that have experienced retirement. I mean, they've retired. And whether it is a a change that has been voluntary or it is a change that has been, quote, forced upon us, we nonetheless have a transition in process, and that transition can be hard. Oftentimes, we identify with what we do. It is we hear this aphorism that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and it's human beings that we're talking about, not human doings. But nonetheless, as flesh encapsulated egos that are moving about in the world, our doings often become part of our identity. And when that doings changes, it can create a crisis in identity. I know, and this is not about me, except that I'm going to put it in the context of my recent experience. You know, as a granddad, I was always available to soothe the hurt feelings, to repair broken toys, to be a presence in their lives, whether it be singing them goodnight songs before they went to sleep, or it being to go to Costco, and as I go through Costco, in the back of my mind is, well, what is it that the kids would enjoy, or what do they need? And so now I'm just a remote granddad, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a remote granddad, but it has been a change of role for me, and that change of role has had its its crisis moments. So whether it is a matter of my not being available as I was available, it's a question of what is my purpose now. Now that that mission has been retired for me, what is my mission now? What is my purpose? And this is generally for all of us, that when we have a purpose that is closely associated with what we do, or let me rephrase that, if we have an identity closely associated with what we do, when that doing changes, then yikes, who am I now? So one of the things that I think is useful for us as we consider what next is just to look at purpose again. What is that sense of purpose? And I'd like to hear from you. When you think of purpose, what do you think of in terms of your own purpose? When you think of what is my purpose, how does that come up for you? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about that?
I don't know if this is right or what you want or not, but I know when my wife died, to get over the grief, I wrote 12 pages of her life, and I bet I've sent out 1,000 of them so far with those 12 pages. And that I think was really my purpose.
Now that you've finished those 12 pages, which thank you for offering those to me several years ago and I read them, but now that you have finished those 12 pages, what is your purpose now?
Well, that's a $64 question. Yeah, I think it's still showing that she said that we all have the gifts that she had and we don't use them. She uses them. How do we use those? I don't know, but I can tell people that you have all these abilities because God is within you and expressing through you, but it's still up to you to do whatever you need to do to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that $64 question is what we're exploring today. Who else? What about, what's your thought about that $64 answer?
Well, this last week I had a couple experiences. One of them was the company I used to work for. Had the production manager called me. He had a problem with a couple of machines. The mechanic I trained and has been there since I left had trouble figuring those machines out. I went up there for a few hours, took care of the machines, and left. I mean, it was just drop in. That's one of my purposes, I think. But I also had another experience this last week that just really kind of surprised me and how dramatically it affected me. I stopped by King Soopers. I'd run to the store, and while I was there, I had to go to customer service and get something. While I was there, the young man behind the counter, whose name was Ja'ala, sorry. It was obvious that he was new. I hadn't seen him there before. He looked a little bit uncomfortable, and while I was doing our business, I asked him how to pronounce his name. He said, it's an interesting name. How do I pronounce that? He told me how to pronounce it. I said, well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you. And I went about my business. But as I left, I realized the response he gave me and the response I gave him, I felt really good about myself for a moment, really good about what I had done to make him feel more comfortable. And I think that's part of my job. That's an element of why I'm here, is to comfort the disturbed and maybe to disturb the comfortable. While I was at the Allen Company, John was a little bit, irritated by not being able to figure out what was going on. And I made him a little bit uncomfortable because I was able to immediately recognize what he needed to do. And then I sat down with him and said, we've spent months together learning this. You already knew how to do this, but you couldn't see it. You were temporarily blinded by your dis-ease. So you need to get the hell over yourself. It's just a damn machine. Okay. And so for him, I had to kind of disturb his comfort zone and push him into, you knew how to do this, you needed to do it. I'm not always going to be here to run over and take care of it. And for Jal, it was, he was very uncomfortable and very nervous. And I think I made him a little more comfortable in his new job. So I think that's a small part of what we're all here to do. And I think in this transition period I've been going through, I've kind of lost track of the world out there a little bit as how it relates to the world inside. Mm-hmm. Because when you go through transitions, you get kind of you get pretty myopic. It's like, it's all about me. It's all about, how do I take care of this? How do I deal with that? How do I deal with that? Instead of just letting it happen and figuring out as you go along. I don't have to know everything. It's going to be okay. So.
My reaction kind of goes along with what Mark was saying. I think I've asked myself that question. What is my purpose throughout my entire life? I keep looking for, and I must admit I still do to some degree, I look for a definitive purpose. Why am I here? But I like to think that maybe that is a mystery to all of us, even if we think we know what the purpose is. Because sometimes it's just the things that happen every day, and it's not necessarily strictly defined as one big thing. Because I don't know, I've never had a strong everyday connection with the outside world, which is weird to me because so many people have that job they're at, as Mark did. But I like to think that even if I'm not conscious of what I have done sometimes, that maybe I hope I have made a contribution and had a purpose, even though I can't define it.
Thank you, Kay. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
is Sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the time of my life. You know, when I was raising kids, it was all around the 4 kids. And that took a long time to combine that along with the purpose of teaching, which is what I did. When I retired from teaching, I had a really rough adjustment because there was a purpose. I mean, that occupied till my whole life, till 10 o'clock at night, along with the family. And then we had kids move out around that same time. And it's like, I was, whoa, where am I at? But I agree with Kay and Mark in that my purpose now is, first of all, to be supportive of my family if they allow. Sometimes they don't.
Right.
And be a good friend. Be a good friend to people. Give them a smile. Smile with my eyes when I wear my mask. And just try and encourage. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Anyone else? Well, given all of your comments, I'm just going to say thank you for being here today. We'll have our closing benediction because right on. It's interesting, though, that it seems to me that we need to have a greater understanding of the dynamics of that for us to be encouraged to practice it, because it's easy to say those things, but when we get into the mix of our day-to-day drama, it's difficult for us to really commit to that process. And I think that it's important for us to know that it's not just about me. That is, it's not just about how am I going to get out of my funk, or how am I going to find a new thing to do, but rather it's important, I think, for us to recognize that our finding our purpose is not a menial thing. It's not in terms of the universe. It is a very important thing. And the reason that it is important, I'm going to speculate on. You've heard me talk about the focus of a philosophical school called panpsychism, where it's the fundamental tenet of panpsychism is that everything in the universe is conscious to some degree. And the degree of that consciousness is determined by the amount of alternative states, the number of alternative conditions that something can be experiencing. So an electron has a plus spin or a minus spin. I'm not talking about charge, but it has a spin, and that spin can be one of 2 conditions. Even in the context of panpsychism, even an electron, it has some level of consciousness. But in our case, look at how many different conditions, how many different states we can occupy, we as individuals. And it's not that we are the ultimate, penultimate vehicle of consciousness, but rather we are the vehicle of a very complex condition, and therefore of high degree of consciousness. Okay, so There's another part of panpsychism. It's, if you will, a different school of panpsychism that says that there is one consciousness in the universe. And that consciousness, you've heard me talk for years about God being consciousness itself. And when I ran across panpsychism and this concept of there being one consciousness in the universe and that we are all part of that one consciousness, I said yes. Okay, so what's that called? It's a anyway. We glom onto that view which supports our view. I recognize that that's what's going on here, and at the same time, it seems to me that that is a fundamental truth, that there is one. As the Daily Word said today, there is one, and that one consciousness has a focus. There may be several foci, but there is at least one focus, and that is that if we are serving that one consciousness, we are serving it by ensuring or by lifting up all other elements of that consciousness into that awareness of the one. And that rising up is an important function for us, lifting others. And Mark, as you said, that as you were interacting with Jalala, that if my memory serves me correctly, that helping him feel comfortable is an important part of what you do, and by extension, what each of us does. At the same time, as you also pointed out, it's important for us to encourage each element of this one consciousness to recognize that we each are empowered. We're very capable. We have the opportunity, we have the skills, we have the toolkit to be able to relate to our inner knowing and apply that inner knowing in the outer world. So, what are we contributing to the one when we are comforting the distressed and distressing the comforted? Is that we are engaging them in such a way that they will, by their experience, will come into the realization that, oh yeah, I really am part of this greater good, this greater God. And I have a responsibility to that greater God. Not because it helps me, which it does, but because it helps the one. It contributes to the one. And for me, this concept of the one, I go back to the question of why. If there is one, then why is there one? And I come to this conclusion that the one is actually in the process of growing through our experiences. The one, the God, that God is not unchangeable, au contraire, but the one is growing. It's constantly growing through the experiences that we have. So whether our experience seems to be painful or it seems to be joyous, whether we feel like we're in a state of grace or we are in a state of disconnection, those experiences contribute to the growth of the one. And so as we help the grocery clerk feeling uncomfortable, as we're helping the technician find an answer and know that that technician is empowered to do what he needs to do. Whatever we are doing, when we are helping others, when we're lifting others, when we're offering others a perspective that, yes, indeed, you are a powerful being, you have a right to be here, you are, in fact, blessed with this gift of being an element of the one. As we are challenged by these events in our life and we respond with resistance, what are we doing? We are declaring that this life experience is not right, right? We're saying, oh no, that can't be right. That's not what I expected. That's not what I intended. That's not for me. When in fact, if we're presented with that event in the context of panpsychism, in the context of the One, in the context of God, when we're presented with that experience is there for us to live. Yes, we have free will. Yes, we have responsibility to respond to whatever is going on. And it is certainly appropriate for us to respond in a way that is going to help us and all others in the affected realm to lift and grow from that experience. Okay, so if we're resisting, we are declaring that we are not part of this one God. On the other hand, if we are receptive and flowing with it, let me share with you a quote from Robert Brummett. Robert has a book called Finding Yourself in Transition, and in that book, he offers us this quote. Some would describe this flowing as living in the Tao, or in the Tao Te Ching. For in the Tao Te Ching it is written, the Tao of heaven does not strive, and yet it overcomes. It does not speak, yet it is answered. It does not ask, yet is supplied with all its needs. It seems at ease, and yet it follows a plan. If we can be in that state of grace, where we are in the flow. Linda wrote me a poem this morning. Now I'm trying to remember it. It's just 2 lines. It may come to me later, but being in the flow. Being in the flow is a place where our tension, our fears, our anxieties are not present. And that is a powerful thing that we are offering to the one consciousness. There's also a poem by T.S. Eliot, at the still point of the turning world, neither flesh nor fleshless, neither from nor towards. At the still point, there the dance is, but neither arrest nor movement. And do not call it fixity, where past and future are gathered. Neither movement from nor towards, neither ascent nor decline, except for the point, the still point. There would be no dance. And there is only the dance. Going back to the daily word of the now, I love that correspondence of I love the correspondence of how that resonates in this message. There would be no dance except for the still point. Yet there is only the dance. Can we live in this awareness that there is just the dance? Can we live in this awareness that we may have these difficult times and we may have these wonderful, easygoing times, but wherever we are, we're there? That there is no place but now, that there is no time but here, and that as we engage this here and now in the fullness of our awareness, that whatever we are part of the one. Whatever we do, we're contributing to the growth of the one. That we are the responsible agents of this thing we call God. And thanks for that, because it is in that awareness that we can find our purpose. It is in that awareness that we can engage in the moment and be fully present for the other that's in the moment. And in that fullness of our presence, we can help the other realize that, we're not two, but we're one. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to buy the license plate. I may have shared this with you last week, but I had the opportunity to share with you. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to decide, do I want to go with a vanity plate? I've often looked at vanity plates as being a curiosity, and well, that's interesting. But I finally decided, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy that vanity plate that I've thought about for so many years. You and I are one. If we can engage, and that part of the reason I got that was so that I can remember that you and I are one. If we can fully engage that concept and offer our doings to the growth of the one, it seems to me we will find our purpose, even if it's a momentary purpose of helping the grocery clerk, even if it is a more grandiose purpose of, whatever you find to be the thing that you want, that you enjoy doing. I'd like to share with you a quote from Rumi. Rumi has offered this: let the beauty of what you love be what you do. Let the beauty of what you love be what you do. And when we're in that awareness of loving what we're doing and doing what we love, aren't we fully contributing to the growth of God? Let me share with you a piece of music. Love this piece of music. Oh, wait a minute. I need to come back to this and optimize for video. There we go. Here we go. And if you would, mute your microphone.
He put a face on AIDS, told his story to the world till he died. And these are the words he said. He said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Holy Mother from India, helping the sick and the poor. Somebody asked, why do you do these things? She said, this is what I came here for. She said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. This is a gift they gave to us to share wherever we go. Be the change you wish to see in this world. Now I understand what they wanted us to know. You can do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. One little boy in Africa, do all you can. Holy Mother from India, do all you can. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Do all you can. Do all you can. Do all you can.
So let's find ourselves in this sacred spot, in this quiet time, here and now. What is it? What is it that is ours to do right now? Allow yourself to come into this altar of the divine, this quiet space within. Allow yourself to come into this still point. And in this awareness of the one that embraces all, acknowledging that we are indeed part of that one. What is ours to do in this moment? Yes, we may be isolated. We may be sitting apart in our own domain. But how can we contribute to the one? Perhaps a contribution to the one might be a moment of prayer. Or perhaps it might be an extended time of meditation. Coming into that sensation, that feeling of connectedness, even in our isolation. Perhaps it's picking up a phone call. Perhaps it's making a phone call. Perhaps it's sitting down and writing a letter. What? A letter? What is that? Maybe it is our taking time right now to, in some way, as small a way as it might be, contribute to the awareness of the other, that we are all connected. Perhaps it is in this state of being, in this awareness of our own connectedness, that we contribute the most to the growth of the one. Yet in this state of isolation, this state of connectedness to the one, that also means that we are connected to each other. And so the question, how can I help, becomes a very real, demanding question. How can I help? How can I lift? How can I see the transformation for others when they cannot see the transformation themselves? How can I engage in this one consciousness that I can help the healing of the planet? What can I do right here, right now? And what trajectory in life do I want from this point forward? How can I be the change that we are all waiting for? How can I be the expression of unconditional love in this moment? Perhaps all of our doings, whatever they may be, just need to be cloaked in this awareness of the one. Resting in the heart of God, opening ourselves to the experiences, be what they may. Engaging those experiences with grace, with unconditional love, free of fear. And visualize for yourself how that might unfold. What would that experience be like, to approach every experience with the unconditional love, with the unconditional awareness that, yes, my answer to this is yes. Fully aware of our responsibility to change what is meant to be changed. Here we are, right now, in God. And for this we give thanks. As we come back into this time, as we come back into this space, as we allow ourselves the permission to re-engage our skin-encapsulated ego, we recognize that we are truly blessed. And for this we give thanks. I'd like to share with you our contribution screen here as we look at what we can do here and now is we can help support our community, because our community is that domain of elements of the One that lift and encourage each other. And so as we hold this awareness of the One in this presence of unconditional love, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And Doug, if you would, bring us out with our benediction.
Be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God ever created.
And unmute your microphones, and all of us together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all